time I talk about pursuing intentional discomfort, I get pushback. And I understand why. I mean, like, who actively wants to pursue discomfort, right? But pursuing intentional discomfort has become one of my go-to quote unquote growth hacks that I've really been leaning into ever since pretty much 2020, when I really started stepping into my power around my own leadership, my own facilitation, my own knowledge, expertise, wisdom, my own coaching, all of that. So it's been a quote unquote growth hack for me, pursuing discomfort in service of growth. And it's something I want to talk about because, like I said, most people, anytime I go to talk about it, they push back on me because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to feel the emotions that can come with the discomfort, because often that's what's really at the root of it, right? Most people just don't want to experience the emotions that come with any level of growth slash discomfort slash fear slash uncertainty. And that, I think, is why a lot of people stay stuck. Instead, it's about learning how to shift your association with discomfort. So it's not about never experiencing discomfort. I mean, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, or at least I should be. If you are on any level of growth trajectory in your business, you know that a lot of that growth comes with a certain level of discomfort, right? Because you're pushing your limits, you're pushing your edges, you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're doing things that are unfamiliar to you, you're doing things that are new, you're building new skill sets, you're navigating new territory, right? Not all of that is comfortable, and most of it's not enjoyable when you're in the actual moment of it. Right? And so I think a lot of people shy away from that kind of stuff because they don't want to feel the emotions that they associate as bad or uncomfortable. And that's why they stay stuck. And so this is why I really wanted to talk about this today, because discomfort and expansion are two sides of the same coin. Okay? Hear me when I say that. You actually don't get expansion without discomfort. And you won't have discomfort without the flip side, which is expansion. Right? It's like contrast. You wouldn't have highs without the lows. You wouldn't have discomfort if you didn't have expansion, and you wouldn't have expansion if you didn't have some level of discomfort. Because discomfort is what makes us lead ourselves better. It's what makes us deepen our power. It's what helps us get more scrappy and creative, and it makes us think outside of the box. And it has us trying new things, and it has us deepening our level of courage and self-trust and faith that it's all going to work out. It's what has us following our nudges and our zings when we have new ideas. Do you think that comes with zero discomfort? Of course not. If you're bringing something new to the surface, if you're creating a new offer, if you're expanding your audience, if you're creating a new event, or if you're switching, your messaging or your positioning or your branding or your identity or your boundaries or your standards, anything like that, all levels of growth in some capacity come with a certain level of discomfort. And when you shy away from that, it's almost like, how I view it at least, is it's almost like you don't trust yourself to navigate it. Like, for some reason, you can't handle the emotions that come with discomfort. But here's what we need to remember is it's only a feeling. Anytime I say that, people get very miffed. But it's true. The thing you're the most scared of is simply a feeling. And if you would stop resisting it, it would move through way more quickly than it does when you just sit and mull over it. You know what I mean? The reason why you won't lean into the discomfort is because of the emotions that you're associating with it. I don't want to feel that fear. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel let down. I don't want to feel defeated. I don't want to feel challenged. I don't want to feel scared. All of those are just emotions. They're not actually like a fucking saber-toothed tiger chasing you through the Sahara. You know what I mean? I don't even know if that metaphor works, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's all just emotions and energy moving through your body. And when you can learn to shift your association with that, it becomes less challenging, less scary, less of a threat to you. If you can start to see you pursuing intentional discomfort as an act of service towards your own growth, so much opens up for you. Because most of the time, the only reason you're not pursuing it or not leaning into it, or the reason why you have an experience where you like pump the gas, pump the brakes, pump the gas, pump the brakes, pump the gas, pump the brakes, like that start, stop, grow, stall, high, low, like that kind of experience that so many of us have when we're going for our next level. The only reason that's happening is because you resist what's unfamiliar. And so the real hack here is to make the unfamiliar familiar. It's to make the things that you don't currently know how to navigate or deal with or handle or do or create, making those more familiar to you, getting comfortable with them, and then making the current behaviors or dynamics or boundaries or standards or habits that you have, the current things that you dwell in or stew in or obsess over, making those things unfamiliar. So again, the hack is to make the unfamiliar familiar and make the familiar unfamiliar. Especially this really plays into identity work. And then also, of course, with things like marketing and messaging and launching and selling, like if you want to learn how to get good at those things, right? If you want to learn how to speak off the cuff or sell off the cuff or run launches or deepen your potency around your messaging or reshift or reposition your brand, all of that is going to be very unfamiliar in the beginning. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. In fact, if it's unfamiliar, if it's uncomfortable, it's probably a green light. It's showing you that that's the direction you should go. Because you're not meant to stay in your comfort zone. I'm sure we all know this, right? You are meant to operate at the edges of your identity, the edges of your capacity, the edges of your own personal expansion. Well, at least that's what I think. That's what I value. I don't know if everyone is like that. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I just torture myself in different ways than other people. But I find that for myself, because one of my core virtues is courage, one of the ways that I love to lean into that is by pursuing intentional discomfort. I also heard Ed Milet talk about this one time around his concept of blissful dissatisfaction. It's kind of like the same thing. It's like blissful discomfort. It's like, can you be happy when you are also navigating discomfort? Can you be present? Can you be grateful for the expansion that you're experiencing, even when it's uncomfortable? Because if you can stay in that level of presence and you can have the awareness in the moment, the emotional awareness to be like, I'm experiencing these emotions because I'm going for it, it shifts everything. Because once you realize that these emotions are coming up for you because you're pushing your edges, because you're going to your next level, because you're deepening your own leadership, well, now that changes everything. It changes the whole vibe, the whole energy around the discomfort that you feel. Excuse me. Around the discomfort, the fear, the uncertainty. If you can start to shift your associations with those feelings, you will tap into a whole new level of growth and success and freedom and emotional intelligence and self-leadership and personal power, because none of those things happen by you staying in your comfort zone. Those skills, those frequencies, those strengths, those characteristics, those virtues, they are developed through navigating uncertainty, new levels of yourself, new levels of your own self-trust, new levels of your own self-belief, new levels of your own discomfort. And I know that might sound a little crazy because most of us don't want to experience discomfort, but if you can really start to minimize the sensations of pain that you feel because of it, or stress that you feel because of the discomfort, if you can start to minimize it, like really just take away the importance of it, like start to normalize it as like, oh, this is just me moving out of my comfort zone. This is me expanding my capacity. If you can actively shift your association with that in real time, like as you're experiencing the discomfort, if you can shift that in the moment and switch into an energy of this is me expanding my comfort zone, or this is me expanding my capacity, or this is me stepping more into my future self. If you can do that in real time, like if you can check in with yourself as you're experiencing the sensations of discomfort, I swear that'll change the entire frequency behind it. Because all of a sudden, it becomes less about the discomfort you feel or the pain you feel or the uncertainty you feel or the stress you feel because of it. And you start to shape it or mold the meaning around it being, I am stepping into my next level. This is me becoming her. This is a future self action. I want to experience this discomfort. This discomfort is a sign that I'm going for it. This discomfort is a signal that I'm pushing my edges. If you can do that in the moment, I swear to God, it will change your entire perspective around the discomfort you feel in that moment. Because you will have actively shifted the frequency behind it to be in support of your growth, not something to shy away from. And I think another thing that trips people up with discomfort is they mistake it for misalignment. So when they start to experience these heightened emotions or this, unsettled feeling where they're feeling more uncertainty or they're feeling more fear, or they're feeling this like charge, they're feeling this discomfort, they assume that whatever they're navigating must not be aligned. But discomfort and misalignment is very different from each other. The way that I typically determine this for myself, because I've been asked this so often, is like, how do you tell discomfort from misalignment? For me, it's when I think about doing the thing. So do this for yourself. Think of something that is currently challenging you, something that creates discomfort in your life. Or when you think about going for it, there feels like there's discomfort there. Okay, so get something in your mind. Now ask yourself, when you think about having done it or having the thing, do you expand or do you contract? Like energetically, is it a like opening? Is it an expansion feeling? Is it a zing? Or when you think about doing it or having it or creating it or being it, is there a contraction? Like it feels like, Often we mistake discomfort for misalignment because we think that the things that we want to have should be easier than they are. And so we're like, oh, well, it's not aligned for me, so I shouldn't go for it. Oh, I don't do things that are misaligned. It's like, no, homie, it's just that you haven't fucking done it before. So of course it feels challenging. Of course it feels uncertain. Of course it feels scary. Of course it feels stretchy. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. So ask yourself, when I think about having this done, or when I think about being this version of myself, or when I think about having this thing, do I expand or do I energetically contract? I swear to God, that's like my litmus test for trying to understand if something is just challenging me energetically or if it's actually misaligned with what I want to do and who I want to be. All right, so that's another thing. And I think the real reason discomfort feels so challenging for people is because it challenges their current identity. This is so freaking big because our current identity, like our familiar self, we know how to handle our current situation. We know how to be our current self, right? Obviously. But that also means we know how to handle that level of stress. We know how to navigate that level of dissatisfaction. We know how to handle that lack of energy. We know how to be that. And so anything that challenges that feels like a threat to us. So your elevated identity, the next level of your identity that you want to step into, the you that is killing it, the you at your highest and brightest. Currently, you don't know how to be that or what to do in that state. And so, of course, it's going to feel uncomfortable. But the way that you get there is through micro steps. Expanding your capacity to navigate more discomfort, expanding your capacity to hold more discomfort, expanding your capacity to diffuse discomfort. And that comes through micro actions, micro decisions, and micro moves. So intentional discomfort isn't optional. It's the portal to everything you say you want, everything you say you want to be, everything you say you want to have. You don't always get there through sheer ease and velocity and like, wow, that was so easy. Look at how well I did. Yes, that is fully possible sometimes. And also, I often think the bigger the dream, the more uncomfortable it's going to feel to stretch yourself into becoming the version of you who has that thing. Because most people think success is like what you get. Success is not a what. It's a who. And the version of you at your highest and brightest, she knows how to handle discomfort. She does not let it knock her off her game. She does not let momentary feelings of discomfort stop her from showing herself what she's made of. And so if you know that that is who you want to be, if that is what you value in your business and your own personal evolution, then learning how to diffuse discomfort. I have a whole audio about this, actually. I just remembered this right now. I have a whole audio training called Diffusing Discomfort. DM me on IG if you want the link to that, because I can't remember the link offhand. Actually, I'll put it in the show notes. Yes, I can finally say that. Okay, I'll put the link to Diffusing Discomfort in the show notes. It's like 20-ish minutes, I think, but it's all around my process for diffusing discomfort so that I can shift my association with it and use it to propel me into my next level of growth and velocity and freedom and success and personal power. Okay. So like I said, intentional discomfort isn't optional. It's the portal to everything you say you want. You can't skip it. Okay. You can only choose whether you are going to avoid it or if you're going to alchemize it, if you're going to lean into it, if you're going to allow it to shape you and mold you and stretch you into who you want to become, because that is how you become and get and have and create everything you say you want. It's you first. So expansion is not something you do. It's something you become by trusting yourself to navigate those feelings of discomfort. So how do we do that? Okay. So I want to make this a bit tangible. Like, how do we navigate discomfort? How do we diffuse discomfort? How do we shift our association with it? How do we lean into intentional discomfort? One quote that comes up for me when I think about this stuff is Bob Proctor. And he always says, goals are not for getting, they're for growing. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I think about intentional discomfort. It's like, it's who you become in the process of it, right? Bob Proctor talks a lot about pursuing discomfort. It's about who you become in service of everything you say you want. Because if you were the version of yourself who could have it all right now, you would. But if there are goals that you have or aspirations that you have or things you want to create that you do not currently have, then you can safely assume that you are not currently being the version of yourself who has that thing or creates that thing or holds that thing. So how do we expand our capacity to hold discomfort? Here's a few things that I do. One, I align my standards with the version of myself who has it. Standards is such an underrated topic. I'm actually going to do a whole episode about this now that I think about this, because standards has been really working on my standards, expanding my own standards, raising my standards in all areas of my life, my marriage, my lifestyle, my health, who I work with, what I allow, what I will not allow, who I'm friends with. I've had to have some uncomfortable conversations with people to phase them out of my life because they just don't match the standard of how I'm willing to be treated or what I'm available for in a friendship capacity. And so examine your current standards. Do they line up with the version of you who has everything you say you want? If not, defining those and gradually stepping into those, allowing yourself to expand into the version of yourself who has these high standards is numero uno, okay? Because it's real easy to set standards. It's a whole other thing to hold them and to be the version of yourself who has them and holds them, okay? And that comes through discomfort. So that's one way that I do it. I always examine my standards. Am I being, or do I have the standards that match her, the one that I'm striving to become? Okay, so that's one. Another one is identifying your needs and speaking them, communicating them. This, holy shit, my friends, this has been such an edge for me. Turns out I was really bad at understanding my own needs and communicating them. This is something, I'm not even joking about that, actually. I wish I was. This was something I became hyper aware of in 2023 when Josh and I our marriage went through a whole metamorphosis. And the coach that we were working with, I'm going to bring her on the show because she is just amazing. Anyways, she really pushed me in this capacity. Like, she really encouraged me to not just like uncover my needs, but then speak them. And goddamn, for a recovering people pleaser, I don't know about you, but fuck me, did I struggle with that one. Like, I really ran up against a lot of edges around not being too much or high maintenance or not being a burden or not, never being happy enough or never being satisfied. Like, I had a lot of stuff to work through around having needs and communicating them. And so I can tell you right now, if you want to expand your capacity to hold more discomfort, understanding your needs and what you yourself need in your life, in your relationships, in your health, your wellness, your own mental clarity, sanity, all of that, your own peace, understanding your needs and then communicating them to the relevant people is such an important part of this game, of really learning how to navigate / hold / diffuse new levels of discomfort in service of growth. Another one is to remove and release what no longer fits. I guarantee you know what is no longer aligned with you. You're just probably too scared to admit it. Because when you actually get clear on what you are available for and what you are no longer available for, then a whole new level of discomfort comes in, because then you're like, shit, now I'm aware of the things that I no longer want or no longer serve me or I'm no longer available for, and now I have to fucking do something about it. And that brings in a whole new level of discomfort. So understanding that this is a natural part of your own growth and evolution, and it's in service of your highest alignment, is one of the best things you could do for yourself. So remember, it's not always meant to feel easy. If it was, I doubt you would enjoy it. There would be no thrill behind the growth. If it was always easy, you wouldn't appreciate it. So no, it's not always meant to feel easy. It's not always supposed to be comfortable, but it is meant to make you feel alive. So the final piece of this that I want to talk about is the somatic side of it, the body side of it. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm experiencing heavy levels of discomfort, that feels very like active in my body. Like I have a lot of energy in my body that I need to like move or alchemize or, process. And so I do this a few ways. Obviously, do what feels best to you. Check with doctors, do all the things. I am not a licensed professional. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. I trust you to make the best decisions for you. You're a smart ass chick. I don't think I need to give you like, I am not a doctor. Like you already know that. Talk to your doctor if you need to. Outside of that, here's what I do. I love hot cold therapy for this. Okay, so I do a lot of like cold plunge and saunas. So if I am in a real state of discomfort, or if things are feeling like really activated for me in a season of growth, I'm in the hydrotherapy spa doing, I'll start with sauna and then I'll go straight into like sub-zero water, cold water. And then I do that for as long as I can manage, but typically like 90 seconds. And then I go into like normal level water or normal temperature water. So I do hot and I sit in the sauna for, and this isn't like infrared or anything. It's like fucking hot ass stones and shit, like traditional saunas. So I'll do a sauna for about 10 minutes and then I go straight into cold to like kind of shock myself. And then I'll go into just like normal temperature water, like just a normal pool. And the reason I love that is because it gets your system, it shocks your system a little, right? It gets you in a state of physiological stress and it kind of just distracts your brain from the emotional distress that you might be feeling due to the discomfort or the season of growth that you might be in. So outside of hot cold therapy, I love like easy breezy walks, not like crazy ass workouts. If I'm like in a real season of discomfort, I don't find it super helpful, for me at least, to bust my ass at like a HIIT workout or something like that. Like I'm not going and slinging a CrossFit workout or some shit if I'm feeling very activated or very challenged in my day-to-day life at that time. Instead, I'm doing something like reformer Pilates, or I live in Thailand, so I'm doing a beach walk, or I go do like a hike. And then the third thing I do, and this is like every single time that I'm experiencing discomfort, is I make heavy use of breath work. So I know that not everyone loves breath work because it can really get your heart rate going. I do very slow breath work. Okay, so I'm not doing breath of fire or whatever the hell it's called, or I'm not going like, I'm doing like, okay, so I'm slowing it right down when I am in a big season of stretching myself, or if I'm in a big season of growth, or if I'm navigating any level of discomfort. I'm doing very slow, deep breathing. I'm not doing like very active fast breathing. Okay. I want to be very clear about that. And then also, if you're really, really, really in it, one thing that I find so helpful, and people always laugh at me when I say this, but I don't care. It's just me staring at a camera right now. So I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to demonstrate it if you're watching the video, is I hug myself. So if I'm really fucking in it, like I just can't find a way to like give myself some mental/emotional relief, I'll do really slow, deep breath work, and I'll like rub the sides of my arm. I don't know what it is. Do not ask me what is the fucking scientific studies behind that. I don't know, bitch. All I know is that there are studies out there that show when you rub the sides of your arms, it activates something in your brain that calms down your nervous system. Okay, so that is another thing I do. If I'm really in it, if I am experiencing a lot of stress or uncertainty or discomfort, I'm doing deep, slow breathing, and I'm like giving myself a big hug, and I'm rubbing my hands down the sides of my arms. I don't know why it relaxes your nervous system. It just does. So don't ask me for all the scientific studies. I don't know them and I can't quote them, but I do know it works for me. And so if you want to try that for you when you are in a state of discomfort or stress, or you are being stretched into your next level and you're having challenging moments like navigating that, try deep, slow breathing and give yourself a freaking hug. And then the final thing I do is I shake. So I'll shake my arms, or I'll shake my legs, or I like do a giant shimmy, and I'll just try and move the energy out of my body. So sometimes I'm just like, just get it the fuck out. Just get it out of me. And so I'll just shake my arms or my legs, or I'll just like do a giant shimmy, like I said, whatever works for you. Okay, I'm just telling you what works for me after all these years of processing discomfort as I've been moving through new stages of my own growth and evolution and my own freedom and success. There are certain phases that have really challenged me. And also, I refuse to back down during those moments because I know it's serving my growth. And so I actively want to lean into those moments. And so I have these like physiological or somatic practices that I also do when the emotional, mental reframing and the mental models or the mental what am I trying to say there? Like the self-leadership work, the personal power work, the work of courage and emotional intelligence. When that just isn't cutting it all the way for me, I do those somatic practices as well, and I layer in hot and cold therapy. So I hope that was helpful. I would love to hear what comes up for you as I talk this out. I imagine there's going to be some feels that come with this, because I would think upon listening to something like this for the first time, you're probably thinking like, but I don't want that. That's what I want you to lean into. Okay, I want you to sit with that and ask yourself, why do I feel so resistant to it? Okay, and then DM me on IG at I am Jill Stanton and tell me what comes up for you. And bonus, if you're digging the show, I would be so appreciative if you subscribed to the show, rated it, reviewed it, and sent me a little love note telling me what came up for you as you listen to this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.